This week on CountryMusicJunkies.com, we have singer-songwriter Koehler on the phone from the Koehler Band. Corey, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Patrice.
Now, let's start with what got you into this. Has music always been a really big part of your life?
I would say that it has, but not necessarily in the sense that it is now. I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to, writing songs and performing. So yeah, but I've always been interested in music. When I was in high school and junior high, I listened to a lot of music. I played a little bit of guitar, but I was into heavy metal, believe it or not.
No way.
And you wouldn't probably hear that if you listen to my music, but that was my big thing back then. And I don't know. I guess I just maybe that's why I didn't find my voice, I guess you could say, early on, just because I was kind of maybe hunting in the wrong area. But
right.
But yeah.
So what was that aha moment where you realized, this is what I want to be doing?
I think it was a combination of things. Through the years, I think when I got into I'm 41 now, and when I was probably in my late 20s, I was living with a friend, and he had instruments laying around his house. And I just started picking it up and noodling around with guitar. I'm like, hey, I kind of remember how to play this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing led to another, and then I bought an acoustic guitar. I got dumped by a woman, and then I had a lot of time to sit around and noodle around on the guitar. And then next thing you know, I'm at campfires and just kind of playing around,
right.
In front of my friends, and they're all looking at me like, hey, man, how come you're not, doing something with this? And I was like, cut it out, guys, you don't mean it, and I don't know, I just started, I just got a lot of encouragement from people, and then I started kind of doing some open jams, and I don't know, people seemed to like it, so there was really no reason for me to stop, so I just kept continuing to follow it, and I guess here I am.
Well, there you go. That sounds like a pretty cool, eclectic mix of reasons for starting, but good for you. So, now you describe yourself as a music goat, which is an expression that I've never heard before. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, when I was around the time, a little bit before, and this kind of plays into why I got into, performing and stuff too. This is kind of a branch of what I just explained earlier. But I had a website, and I wanted a small domain name, and I was just kind of trying to think of, what could I use? It's got to have music in it. Well, I didn't know what I wanted to blog about, because I like a lot of different kinds of music. Like I said, I was kind of a heavy metal kind of a guy, hard rock early on, but, as I got older and I started, getting introduced to a lot of 70s bands, and my dad always had some sort of country playing on in the background, so I was always familiar with, your Whalens and your Willies and your Kenny Rogers, but, then I got introduced to classic rock, and I even liked some hip-hop and stuff like that, so I didn't want to limit myself to just talking about one kind of music.
Right.
So I guess, like a music, or like a goat, like they say a goat eats anything, well, I guess the concept was, that I listen to anything, or at least I give everything a chance. So that's kind of where that whole music goat thing came from, and yeah, so.
Well, that's a great analogy. I like that one. I as I said, I'd never heard it before, but that's pretty cool. So let's, I guess, kind of switch gears and talk about your music, and more specifically your first CD, Never Too Late. Obviously, something you're pretty proud of, I would assume.
Yeah, I would say that I am. It's I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's doing better than I thought it was gonna. I didn't quite know what to do. Like I said, I'm kind of a late bloomer. I didn't really understand, if anybody was gonna like my stuff. But I'm really surprised at the reaction that people give me. It's funny because since I was a late bloomer, you always get those people they'll look at me and they'll be like, "So you wrote that song and you sang it, like you just made it up?" Because people I've known for years all of a sudden got this look on their face, like,
right.
Where did this come from? How did you do that? But no, yeah, it's a lot of different stuff that I kind of threw on there. There's I don't know if you listen to it, you can kind of hear a bunch of different kinds of music in there.
Right.
obviously country is a big chunk, but then there's some blues and some rock and folk and all that kind of stuff. So
now, is there one particular song that kind of really is a special song to you or has special meaning behind it? Or, I mean, maybe all of them have special meaning behind them?
In a way, it's kind of like asking which child is your favorite.
Okay, fair enough. You don't have to answer that then.
They all mean something. They all came from a particular place. Change the World was one that just kind of was born out of frustration, and it's kind of a way that I kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of like pep myself up or got myself going, just, because I was frustrated, and, I just thought to myself, there's only one way to get rid of the frustration and do something about anything is to actually get out there and do it.
Right.
On My Way, I liked a lot. That's a good one. Minnesota Got Colder, that one's pretty close to me. Just from, I've had a lot of people kind of suffered, a lot of deaths in a certain short period of time.
Oh.
And that was a couple years ago. But I just found myself walking through a lot of lines. Like when you go to a funeral and it's like, really the only thing that you can say is, sorry for your loss. And it always just seems like, I haven't thought of anything else to say yet, but it always just seems like it just doesn't say enough.
Exactly.
You're afraid to say more because you just don't want to go there. So I guess that song is kind of like my answer to that whole, it's my philosophy, and it's kind of like what I would be like, go listen to this, that's how I feel, and that's what I wish, that's how I hope you feel. So.
Right. Well,
anyway.
That's great. I mean, you do have a very eclectic mix of songs on that CD for sure. So by all means, fans, check it out. It's called Never Too Late, and you can find it on your website, which is planetcorey.com. Easy enough to remember. Now, your website, planetcorey.com, allows fans to go and download 2 free songs. How does that work? That sounds like an awesome initiative. How does it all come together?
Well, basically, you just show up to my website, and if you're interested in my music, you just put your name and your email in there, and I send you a couple songs. One of the songs is Change the World, which I kind of already talked about. The other song is Take This Ring, which is probably my biggest song.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that one's kind of surprising. I mean, it keeps getting more and more views, and people keep finding, I think it's like over 25,000 views on YouTube now, which is pretty good for me.
Absolutely. It's pretty good for anyone.
Other guys, but I'm liking it, and it's kind of cool because I mean, all these people want to use it for their weddings, and they're constantly asking me if I can come to their wedding and play it, or if they can have somebody else play it at their wedding. So that one's kind of cool, and like I said, they're free. Like a lot of my other stuff. A lot of stuff is pay what you want because, like I said, the most important thing is just getting people out there to hear the music, because I think once people start to hear the music, and if they like it, I think the rest of it, will take care of itself. So
exactly. Well,
stop by and check it out.
That is very cool. And if you're interested in the 2 free downloads, Change the World and Take This Ring, go to planetcorey.com. Now, if fans want to check you out on Facebook or Twitter or any of the social media outlets, are you on those as well?
Yes. Twitter would be Planet Corey as well, like twitter.com/Planet Corey. I'm on YouTube, which is YouTube Corey Koehler Music. Facebook, Corey Koehler Music. So, I mean, really, if you Google me, you're going to probably see just about anything, because I'm kind of a nerd that way. I do a lot of stuff to try to get my name out there and make sure that I'm accommodating everybody that's out there. So. Well,
that's great, though. That's excellent. So, fans, be sure to check them out. PlanetCorey.com on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Corey, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me.